Join us this week as we descend into the darker side of human nature and uncover the shadows that dwell in the unknown. From chilling true crime and gruesome murders to spine-tingling paranormal encounters that defy explanation, we're peeling back the curtain on things that go bump in the night. So grab a flashlight and maybe a blanket, because you're listening to The Guilty and the Ghostly. Before the FBI had a badge, before federal agents had a rulebook, there was a shadowy name whispered in boardrooms, back alleys, and union halls alike: Pinkerton. Born in the chaos of the 19th century America, the Pinkerton Detective Agency promised order in a nation exploding with crime, corruption, and rebellion. But behind the famous unblinking eye and the slogan "We Never Sleep" lies a legacy soaked in blood, broken strikes, and blurred lines between justice and intimidation. We're pulling back the curtain on America's first private police force and asking whether the Pinkertons were crime fighters or something far more dangerous. Welcome back, GGP gang. Episode number 38.
We still don't have it down.
We still don't know what episode we're on.
We don't know what we're doing. We don't know how we got here. We're just flying.
The seat of our pants, so they say.
I've never heard them say that.
No?
You haven't heard that?
No.
That's funny. So welcome back. Here we go. Got some business to take care of. Number one, I have a shout out to give. So I listen to a lot of podcasts. Tori listens to a few. But one of the podcasts that I really enjoyed are two sisters out of Texas, A and Landry. The Sisters of the Strange. Go check them out. They had listened to our podcast, so shout out to you girls. Thank you for listening. And they kind of helped us out with figuring some of this stuff out and kind of told us what they were having similar issues that we were and told us kind of a workaround, and we're using it. And we used it last time. So far, it seems to be working. So,
Yep.
I appreciate the help.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, seems to be working great. So shout out to them. Of course, shout out to Corky and the Paranormal War Room, and remember that. Make sure to go check them out. He contacted me this week, and I think we're working on another collab episode soon.
Great.
We just got to settle on which one, but I think I found one that would be good.
Is it the same one that we talked about last time?
What was that?
I can't say.
I can bleep it out. That's another one that they're still going to record it, but we're wanting to do another movie episode. I think I've got one.
Care to elaborate?
I guess I can bleep that out too. We'll just bleep out every other word.
Bleep out this whole clip, y'all.
Okay, yeah.
That's based on a true story.
Yeah, it is. That's actually a pretty good movie.
Yeah.
It's fucking wild, but...
Yeah. So I haven't told him about it yet. So, Corky, I'm going to have to rewatch it. So I'll be reaching out, Corky. I think I've got one figured out for us. So I think it'll be good. So those are the only shout outs I have. Does anybody else have any shout outs that they want to do?
Check out our sponsor, Dubby.
That's not a shout out.
Yeah.
Order
Speaking
Dubby.
of that.
Yeah. We need to order more Dubby.
Yeah.
All we have is the hydration left, which is great. I need some
It's actually very tasty.
Yeah, Addie really likes it. She said, so we have the lemon hydration right now, and our oldest, she really likes it, and she basically nailed the head on the nail.
The head on the nail.
The nail on the head. She said it doesn't taste like lemon like she thought. It tastes like straight up lemonade. So she really likes it.
It's really good.
Yeah. Other than that, I guess we do need to mention, so we have a giveaway going on right now. We're trying to reach 1,000 followers on Facebook, and we are so close. I think we have 982 or something like that last time I looked. So we are really, really close.
Very close.
Once we hit 1,000, we are going to have a giveaway. So all you have to do is share the post, invite 3 people that you think would like our podcast, and comment done. That way we know you've done it, and you can be entered to win our giveaway. It's going to have some little goodies. I showed Tori what they were.
They're very cute, by the way. So I would definitely enter in the giveaway when we do end up having it.
But I will say you will get a Guilty and Ghostly sweater. So if you win, we'll make you guys a sweater and send it with everything else, which I'm wearing. Guilty and Ghostly sweater, just made, hot off the press. Literally.
Yeah.
We are selling them if you want them. Just you can either message us on any of our social media, or you can send us an email to theguiltyandtheghostlypodcast@gmail.com. Hoodies are going to be $35, sweaters will be $32, and t-shirts are $25. So if you want some merch, want to support us, support the cause so we can save money to go do some haunting things, we've got some plans, and that'll just help us get there that much faster.
Yeah. We'll get you guys some, I'm hoping, very creative content.
Yes, I've got one in the works, which actually doesn't cost any money. We just need to pick a night to go do it.
Mm-hmm.
I found another one, but oh my gosh, some of these places are expensive.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how expensive until I started trying to look at some. And there was sticker shock. I was like, oh my gosh. But they do have like a spring tour coming up to where you don't really get a private investigation, but you get to go tour the house. And I thought that would be kind of cool. That's coming up in, I think, March. And I thought about getting everybody tickets, at least all of us that can go.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
And go check it out. And then, somebody's birthday is this week. So happy early birthday, Josh.
Thank you.
Happy early birthday.
On Tuesday.
Yep.
And I've got something really cool for him for his birthday. I can't tell you guys because he's sitting right next to me. But
Tuesday's a terrible day for a birthday.
It is. But your birthday present isn't on. It's not on Tuesday. It's actually later in the month. Mm-hmm. On the 24th is when we'll go. And I can't wait to share with you guys what it is because I think it's really cool.
I already know what it is. I think you'll really like it.
Yeah. So that'll be fun. So stay tuned. Check it out. Other than that, update or lack of update, as we were talking about earlier, on James David Blunt in Jacksonville, still not has been found. No updates. Nothing to report on. I know they've done searches. I know the families are still looking, but there's still no update, no clue, no lead. Well, no, I guess substantial leads that have been released. Still have no clue where he or his dog are. So I will post the picture here. That way, I know we have a lot of local listeners. Somebody has to know something. I mean, people don't just literally disappear. So I hope he's found. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, no kidding.
Especially that close to home.
That's the second thing around us that happened.
Yeah.
Just in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
That was newsworthy.
Yeah. Jacksonville's wilding over there.
Yeah.
They need to calm down. Need to calm down. Being too loud.
I hope they edit that out, guys.
Nope. We're leaving it just for you guys because I like it. Do you guys have anything?
No, I can't think of anything.
I need you guys to start bringing something to the table. Y'all are boring.
I feed you guys. That's me bringing stuff to the table.
He did make eggs and bacon for breakfast.
I provided brain food this morning.
Okay. I made dinner last night.
It was great.
It was so good. We eat a lot, guys, in case you can't tell by our girlish figures. Tori don't count. She only comes over every now and then. So
but when I come over, I eat a lot.
We don't play.
Speaking of that, I have some leftover stew that I'm going to send with you.
You can put it in AD's crock pot.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I guess that's it.
That's it.
That's all we got. All right. Thanks for coming. We'll see y'all next week. Just kidding. Just kidding, guys.
Today's episode will be kind of cool.
You're going to see if your ghost friend's back?
I'm surprised you didn't have that on already.
I forgot.
Yeah,
We usually have it on.
Actually, that's a really good spot because you can see it in the camera. There you go. That way he can touch your leg. So, like Josh was saying, we do have a good episode today, and it's actually a callback from a previous episode that Tori and I did.
So if you're an OG, you'd already know about this.
I already know. Do you remember the episode? Can you give like a...
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could you give a summary?
Yeah, so in that episode, we were talking about a morgue, and...
Girl?
Yeah.
No. Jennifer Morey, the Pinkertons.
With the morgue?
No. Jennifer Morey was the one where the woman lived in the apartment by herself, and she went to sleep that night and woke up and
Yeah, okay, and he had broken in. He was the security for the apartment complex or something like that. Yeah. Okay, I got him confused. I thought it was with the morgue.
Nope.
Are you sure?
Mm-hmm.
The one was with the morgue?
That was the CPR case. That was attached to the morgue.
Confused. I listened to too many podcasts.
I know, they all start blurring together.
Yeah.
So just Tori kind of gave already a little bit of a summary. So we covered earlier in the podcast, Jennifer Morey. She was a young single woman who lived in an apartment, woke up in the middle of the night, and had a guy on top of her attacking her. He ended up, I think, cutting her throat is what he did.
Mm-hmm.
And she got away from him, ran to the bathroom, locked herself in the bathroom, and guy disappeared. And she was bleeding so bad, she basically locked herself in the bathroom. She couldn't open the door. She jammed the door shut. Come to find out, it was the security officer that worked at her apartment that had attacked her. And the security company was owned by the Pinkertons. And we kind of briefly touched on the Pinkertons in that episode.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, that'd be a really cool episode. So here we are. We're doing it on the Pinkertons.
Mm-hmm.
Which some of you may know if you play video games. What's that video game called?
Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah. Is it just the second one?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I've never played the first one.
I don't think they're in the first one. The only place I've heard is the second one that it's in. So I guess it's just the second one that they're in. So if you play video games, Red Dead Redemption 2, I think they're the bad guys in there, aren't they?
No.
No?
They're like the police, basically.
Okay, I thought they were the bad guys in
No,
there.
if you do bad stuff, they come looking for you.
Okay. I should know. I've watched Josh play it numerous times.
You don't pay attention to that stuff.
Normally I'm listening to a podcast and doing cricket stuff or doing other things. So, yeah, we're going to talk about Alan Pinkerton.
Okay, start.
Alan Pinkerton was born in Glasgow, Scotland on August 25th, 1819. So we're going way back. Way back. Back in the
Before
gap.
I was born.
And you're old.
And I'm old.
You're fixing to be really old. Well, his parents were Isabella and William Pinkerton. His father was on the police force, but was forced to retire after being injured while on duty. And I always kind of wondered how he got so into it, but that kind of makes more sense. And you'll see why I say that here in just a minute. William Pinkerton would be killed during a political riot, and so at the age of 10 years old, Alan Pinkerton left school to help support his family and becoming a runner for a pattern maker, which again was really common back then. 10 years old to have to quit. That's Jackson's age, to have to quit a job to support your family.
Quit school and get a job.
What did I say? Quit a job?
Quit a job to quit a job.
Quit a job to quit a job. It's wild. I couldn't imagine Jackson.
Well, I mean, not even that long ago, people had to do that.
Yeah.
And people still have to do that in certain situations.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's really not any different. It really just kind of seems to me like it's situational and to an extent the area that you live in.
Yeah.
A lot of the times. It's very unfortunate. We were fortunate enough to grow up in an area where there wasn't a ton of poverty.
Yeah.
I mean, there was, but
Not
like
to that
there
extent.
is in certain areas, you know.
Yeah. He then apprenticed as a cooper in the Macaulay Cooperage Works. Although he quit school at just 10 years old, he loved to read and continued to basically, I guess, self-educate. Like he even though he quit school, he did not stop that need to learn.
Mm-hmm.
He became active in the Chartist movement, which I asked you, like, what is that? Advocated for political and social reform. So basically, before there were unions, this was a little bit before the union started, I think, or it was part of that, people fighting for better pay, better work environment, and he was heavily involved in that. In 1842, he would get married to a Joan Carfrae at the age of 23. He and his bride would get on a ship to the United States, and like basically the day they got married, they got on a ship and came to the United States to avoid an arrest warrant that he had. It was issued for his political activities and fighting for that movement. Once they made it to the United States, they settled in Dundee, Illinois, which is about 40 minutes from Chicago. The village of Chicago was officially organized in 1833 with a population of approximately 250 people. Chicago was then incorporated in 1837, and just four short years later, with a population of 4,170 people.
Yeah, we talked about that. They had an explosion in growth.
Yeah, huge. By 1840, the population grew to 4,500. And then by 1850, the population was at 29,963 people.
It's kind of like Tyler.
Yeah. Oh, there's more. Then, by 1856, Chicago had over 80,000 residents and more arriving daily.
Wow.
It was kind of like, I guess, a train hub, and so it was kind of an easy way to settle. It's right there, I guess, on the river. What? Her friend?
Mm-hmm.
Her friend always comes when she's here.
It's very active right now.
I wonder if it's picking up the mics, though.
I don't think so, because now it's not doing it.
That's so weird. And it's only when Tori's here. When Josh and I record, it doesn't do that. Like, it might go off once or twice, but that's it.
And that was really weird because it almost was mimicking a heartbeat the way that it was fluctuating.
Heart's beating for you, Tori.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
I don't like that.
Yeah, so 1856, there were 80,000 residents in Chicago.
So it's kind of like New York in a way, too.
Yeah.
How it just continues to keep populating and populating.
More and more. And again, I think it's because of the location where it's at.
Wasn't this... I'm going to sound stupid because I really don't know, but that would be sometime around the Industrial Revolution, right?
Maybe. Yeah, I would assume so.
The Industrial Revolution.
Look it up.
And that would make sense because that would be like an industrialized area.
Yeah.
Right? So that would...
You have all the boats and trains and everything.
1760, when did all this happen?
So this is 1833 to 1856.
It started in 1760 and it ended roughly by 1830 through 1840.
So just after.
So yeah, I mean, that would have been probably partially the reason.
Yeah.
They started industrializing that area and then...
Yeah, it just blew up.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was just a span of 23 years. It grew by almost 80,000 people.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's a lot.
Is it going again?
Yeah.
He just wants to be your friend. That is wild. It never does that.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Well, with the sudden rise in people came an insane rise in crime. The city had earned a reputation for crime as... Hang on.
Start that one over.
The city had earned a reputation for crime and became known as the wickedest city in the country. Wicked.
Like it was wicked cool.
Wicked cool. Chicago and Cook County had bold thieves and cunning counterfeiters. Burglaries, robberies, riots, assaults, and social disorder were becoming more frequent occurrences. The city prison was then built to accommodate 200 people. So only 80,000 people in their prison was only built to hold 200.
That's
doesn't seem
crazy.
Yeah. From 1838 to 1854, the Chicago Police Department was a small collection of ununiformed officers and part-time night watchers to serve and protect the quickly expanding city. But with a large number of people, they were basically overran. 2 years later, they finally increased the police force to 80 officers. 80 to cover 80,000.
One per 1,000.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
1 police officer per 1,000 people.
According to some, the police force was unwilling to conduct investigations or shadow suspected criminals outside of their own jurisdictions. Which how could they? How could they? They had so much to cover. How could they do all that?
And more funding.
Yeah. Criminals were often not identified and could get out of the city on a rail car, steamer, or a stagecoach headed west and never be seen again. They're gone. The people of Chicago were uneasy, watching crime rise in their city, and those who could afford it began hiring private police to protect their homes and businesses. Not always with the intended outcome. I wrote that weird.
Word salad.
Word salad. Those who could afford it began hiring private police, but that also led to extortion, and they'll be like, yeah, I'll protect you, but you've got to pay me this much. And so it just caused a whole nother issue in the city than what it was.
Legalized crime.
Yeah, basically.
I guess technically that's extortion, wouldn't it?
That's what I said, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you did say that.
Yeah. So not only do you not listen to the podcast, you don't even listen when we're doing it.
And I have headphones on. I can't help but hear you.
Ridiculous. In the late 1840s, Alan Pinkerton was a barrel maker in Dundee, Illinois, which was also known as a cooper at the time. Oh, man, and I already forgot. I looked it up to see where the name Cooper came from, and it was like something with a Latin word, and I can't remember the exact meaning. I'd have to go look it up again, but it did not... I don't know how they got to Cooper. It was wild. While searching for lumber on Fox Island, Pinkerton discovered a band of counterfeiters and proceeded to help take them down. This launched his career as a detective. He was appointed as a part-time deputy sheriff for Dundee before becoming a special agent for the U.S. Post Office. It was common for individuals to contract with the inspection service to assist in resolving particular criminal cases. So again, they don't have that police force to help protect them, so they would have to go find somebody to help investigate or protect them and get help.
I wonder when, I guess the private eye business has been around for a while, but I bet that really increased a lot of that around that area.
We're fixing to get into it.
Yeah.
During this time, Pinkerton built a reputation as an investigator for hire. In 1853, Pinkerton was hired as a part-time deputy sheriff for Cook County. During the next 2 years, he often worked undercover on his own time, investigating burglaries, thieves, counterfeiters, and other lawbreakers. The mayor, the clerk, city council, court recorder, and the prosecuting attorney recognized Pinkerton for his vigilant service in the city, and they paid him $200, which would have been about $8,000 today as compensation.
Wow.
So he was making pretty good money. He was known for his no-nonsense attitude, rough exterior, and this made him known and feared by criminals. Alan Pinkerton seemed like the kind of person who was born to be a detective. He had a sharp mind, stubborn streak, and drive that simply wouldn't let things go unresolved. More than anything, he believed deeply in justice. If something was wrong, it needed to be made right, no matter the cost. Which kind of goes back to why he fled to the United States, was he had gotten into trouble for fighting that, what is it called? Fighting that thing over in Scotland. My mind just went blank. Revolution? That's not the right word.
I think so.
Is that right? Well, that's why he fled to the United States.
Were they revolted against?
Well, yeah, they were fighting against the low wages and the awful work environment.
It's kind of more like a strike, I guess.
I guess, yeah. So he got in trouble for fighting for the rights over there. There we go. Fighting for the rights over there. Yep. And that's why he fled to the United States.
Fight for your right to party.
That's a second New Heights.
New Heights?
New Heights.
Oh, that was the Beastie Boys.
Well, yes, but also...
No.
Travis Kelce's fiance.
No. Negative.
He didn't even know it.
Exactly.
Okay.
I've had enough of you with your Taylor Swift stuff.
That belief is what pushed him to walk away from the public office in February of 1855. Rather than compromise his principles, Pinkerton struck out on his own, and he opened the Northwestern Police Agency, which would soon become known as the Pinkerton National Detective Agency. So that's when he started it. It's 1855. He was also named the first detective of Chicago at the age of 31 years old. At first, the work was pretty straightforward. General detective business across Illinois, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Indiana. But as railroads expanded, the crime followed right behind them. Pinkerton and his agency quickly found themselves chasing train robbers, tracking thieves, and stepping into a growing world of organized crime. He was having good success with that, and then he created the Pinkerton Protective Board. Nope.
The PPB?
The Pinkerton Protective Patrol. PPP.
PPP.
PPP. Pew, pew, pew. Also, no, already read that. It was a private police force that provided night protection for partnering Chicago businesses. This included banks, department stores, jewelry stores, hotels, basically anything that would conduct business. He would offer them protection, or if somebody was stealing something, he would go investigate and try to figure out what was going on. The Pinkerton Protective Patrol charged a standard rate and offered the same service for every client. And that was not common back then. A lot of people, you got more money, I'm charging you more money. Mm-hmm. If you got less money, I don't care. You're still, I'm charging you no matter what. I mean, he stuck through the end. He stuck to that, charging a flat rate. And he was also, I may mention it later on too, he also, once he agreed on a price, he would never come back and be like, I'm charging you more. And that was pretty common back then too. They'd be like, yeah, I told you that price, but I had to do this, and this, so I'm charging you this much. Once he quoted a price, that's it. That's all you paid. So people really respected him for that.
Yeah.
The Pinkerton Agency was an ununiformed police force before Chicago's ununiformed police force. Until 1858, the city's police they'd wear plain clothes. You couldn't even tell who they were because they would just be wearing regular clothes like everybody else. Mm-hmm. Pinkerton was also known to have helped the escape and freeing of enslaved people during this time with working with the Underground Railroad. He even had his own stop with the Underground Railroad in Chicago. He used his own money to pay for a train that transported 11 enslaved people from Chicago to Detroit, and then the group would later flee to Canada.
I didn't know that.
Pinkerton knew exactly the kind of people he wanted watching the streets. He brought in Paul H. Dennis, who would later go on to serve as one of Pinkerton's Union Secret Service spies during the Civil War. He put him in charge basically as the very first captain. Alongside him were 6 hand-picked patrol officers chosen not just for experience, but for their natural instincts for police work. These weren't men who could be bought or bullied. They were known for being straight-laced, disciplined, and reliable. While on duty, the officers were not allowed to pass the time with cards, dice, dominoes, or any type of gambling. They were not allowed to debate religion or politics while in uniform. And their uniform appearance was very, very strict. So their uniforms, they had to be clean. They couldn't be damaged in any way. Basically, could you press things back then? I don't know. But
Yeah, I'm sure they could. They made steam and stuff.
Yeah, so their uniforms had to be like crisp and clean every day.
Yeah.
Their shoes, shields, and buttons had to be polished before every shift. When they were out in their uniforms, they could be easily identified as the Pinkerton Protective Patrol. When they were on the clock, uniforms were non-negotiable. Every officer always wore one unless the boss gave them like special permission. If they were on like an undercover sting or something, they were required to wear their uniform, which again, the police officers were not at that time. They were in just civilian clothes. And so they wanted them to stick out and be like, oh, we're here to take care of business. Those uniforms also stayed locked up at the Pinkerton headquarters in designated lockers, and officers were not allowed to take them home. They couldn't even remove them from the building for any reason. So they kind of kept them under lock and key so that nobody could impersonate them, basically. It was all about the image. They wanted to be the best, have the best, and not be soiled by anything, basically. So the Pinkertons were kind of a hybrid force. They weren't just walking the streets looking for crime to stop. They were hired for a specific reason, like basically to investigate specific crimes. They weren't out writing carriage parking tickets or whatever you did back then. I don't even know, but they...
Your horse is jaywalking.
Yeah, your horse is jaywalking, so we got to write you a ticket. They weren't doing that. Like, they were hired for specific reasons.
DWI on your horse.
They would work as security to help and do detective work for them. This would become monumental for Pinkerton's career because the corporate attorney for the Illinois Central Railroad was none other than Honest Abe himself. The president.
Abe Lincoln?
Abe Lincoln.
Mm-hmm.
Abe Lincoln.
Which, by the way, if you haven't seen Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, it's a pretty good movie.
It's a pretty good movie. I like that movie. Hang on, I got a fuzzy in my nose ring, and it's tickling my nose.
Whatever, it's a hair.
Probably.
Don't lie.
Okay.
You should have waxed in there.
Probably.
I thought about that after you did that.
Okay.
Then I realized I'd probably get it in my beard hair.
Okay.
And then I realized it would have been a tragedy.
Okay, we're moving on. The president of the railroad was William McClellan, who would become the head of the Union, forces. Pinkerton would later join the duo during the Silver War. The Civil War.
Wow.
Haven't you heard of it?
No.
Yeah, me neither. Civil War, which I found this really cool picture. You always hear about how big Abraham Lincoln was or how tall he was, but until you see him in a picture and then you see that giant top hat.
Oh, yeah, he's a massive
He is
dude.
huge.
Yeah.
Like, very recognizable.
Mm-hmm.
So that's Honest Abe. This is one that they kind of redid and cleared it up so you could see it a little bit better. Thought it was kind of cool.
He's tall.
He is tall. So that was during the Civil War. About 11 years into the detective agency, Pinkerton learned of an assassination plot against his buddy, Abraham Lincoln, who was a president-elect at the time. So he wasn't official president yet. An Italian-born barber from Baltimore named Cipriano Ferdini.
Reno cappuccino.
We're going to get canceled now.
Probably. He was a pro-Confederate who believed that Lincoln's presidency would destroy the South. Ferdini wanted to put a stop to it. Lincoln was scheduled to pass through Baltimore on the way to his inauguration and would have to get off the train there in Baltimore. So he's like, let's show up in the chaos and everything. We can kill him, get out, and not be caught. Pinkerton found out about the plan, and he knew, like, we've got to take action. I don't need my buddy getting killed. We got to do what we got to do. So instead of stopping in Baltimore, the train made a stop in Harrisburg, and they basically put Lincoln in a disguise. I think I seen where they, because of the sheer size of him, and he is so recognizable, they kind of put, like, clothes on,
They dressed him up as Bigfoot?
Yeah, they dressed him up as Bigfoot. Because nobody sees Bigfoot. No, they basically dressed him up as... Shit.
Jesus, guys.
They basically dressed him up as, which I'll mention her in just a minute, but the agent that he was with as her disabled brother. And kind of had him hunched over walking to kind of hide just the sheer size of this man.
It's actually a pretty good excuse.
So on this train ride, he would act as the brother of a woman named Caton. That's not right. I think it was Karen. Shit. No, it's Kate. Kate Warren, who was a detective, and we'll talk about her more in a moment, which we mentioned her on that Jennifer Maury episode. She would escort Lincoln on a different train than what everyone thought he was on, and that train would come through Baltimore at night. So kind of they were expecting this other train to get there and him get off of there, and they're looking, and he never got off of it. They put him on a later train.
Mm-hmm.
Kate would stay up all night standing guard and watching Lincoln as they made the trip. This is also thought to have been where the slogan, "We Never Sleep," came from. And they turned it into their famous logo that we know today for the Pinkertons, which I have a picture of the Pinkerton logo. We never sleep. And I have a picture of Alan Pinkerton. That's Alan Pinkerton.
I wouldn't sleep with a face like that either.
Looks like a blanket kind
of. Beard. This is also where they believe the term private eye to have come from. Ferdini denied the accusations, and without a direct attempt and no physical evidence, authorities could never press charges, and no arrests were ever made for that plan. So Kate Warren, we're going to talk more about her, the detective that accompanied Mr. Abe Lincoln. Kate Warren was hired as the first female detective in 1856 after she approached Pinkerton. And she would basically convince him that as a woman, they could gain access or gain information in ways that men couldn't. People see them as not smart. Back then, women were just like to be seen, not heard. Nobody acknowledged women.
Yeah.
And with that, they'd be underestimated. So she brought that argument. It was like, they won't even see me. They won't even know who I am. And I can get all this information and weasel my way through, and they will never be none the wiser. So Pinkerton hired her on the spot. He's like, you know what? You make a good point. Let's give it a shot. So she was the first woman detective hired.
That's cool.
That is pretty cool.
Kate specialized in adopting believable personas, often going undercover as a wealthy Southern belle, a grieving window.
Is that a window that's sweating?
She dressed up as a window and was just like sitting in the background watching these guys gamble and grieving widow.
I wouldn't pay attention to somebody like that either, I guess. I'd be like, oh yeah, let's leave her alone.
She would also act as like a flirtatious socialite to get information.
A little bit of a floozy is what you're saying?
Watch it. All of this was really before going undercover was a thing. This was kind of the very start of it. Men underestimated her, and she leaned into it. Kate knew people spoke freely around her because they didn't view her as dangerous or intelligent enough to matter. This gave her access to conversations that male agents would never be able to hear. Just 4 short years later, Pinkerton made her the head of the Female Detective Bureau. So she moved up pretty quick. This was completely unheard of at the time. The first sworn policewoman in the United States wouldn't happen until 1908 in Portland, Oregon. Kate would recruit and train these other women decades before women were widely accepted in law enforcement. But sadly, at the age of 35 years old, she would die suddenly, reportedly from pneumonia. Some historians believe that the exhaustion from going undercover and just that high-stress job contributed to her early death. But what was really cool is he actually buried Kate in the Pinkerton family plot in their cemetery because he just regarded her so high.
That's really nice.
Pinkerton was absolutely devastated when she passed, and he would even say that she was his most valuable agent that he ever had.
Yeah.
Once the Civil War... Oh my God, why do I keep saying that?
He's got silver on the mind.
Obviously. Once the Civil War began, Lincoln knew that Pinkerton would make the perfect head spy or Secret Service. Pinkerton's code name was E.J. Allen, so that was his alias, E.J. Allen. Pinkerton was able to seek out other secret spies and brought down several of them. However, when he went back to William McClellan with the information on the Army size... That's probably going to... Oh my God. There's wires everywhere. Okay.
See that?
Mm-hmm.
When I touched it, it stopped.
Mm-hmm.
However, when he went back to William McClellan with information on the Army size, he might have miscalculated it just a little bit. He told General McClellan that he estimated the Confederates to have had about 200,000 troops, but Robert E. Lee only had about 45,000 troops, so way overestimated the amount of people.
Uh-huh.
Due to the overestimation, this delayed in the attack on the Confederate soldiers for fear of being taken over, since McClellan only had about 75,000 troops. So if they would have known, they could have easily taken over because they only had 45 and they had 75. So they had the numbers, but because they thought they had so many, they waited, and it could have possibly caused the war to go on a lot longer than what it had to.
Mm-hmm.
In 1862, Pinkerton left the war, and he ended up going back to his roots with the detective agency. I don't know if it was because of that or if the war ended, and so he's like, I'm going back to what I know. I don't know. I didn't really see that, but he was out. He's going back home.
Can't say that I blame him.
Yeah. In the 1870s, Alphonse Bertillon, a French police officer and criminologist, developed the first systematic method of photographing criminals. Today's not the day, y'all.
Alphonse, like, hey!
Yeah, exactly. Silver. We're in the Civil War. For Bertillon, police photos were inconsistent with angles, poses, like there was no standard. They just took a picture of them and it was like, yep, good enough, and sent them on their way. Bertillon standardized criminal photographs into the front-facing and side profile views that we use today. He also used precise body measurements of the head, the length of their arm span, and their foot size when taking their pictures, so that they this basically they have no computer database to keep track of all this. Mm-hmm. So if they come in and say, I'm so-and-so, you have no way to prove they are or they're not. So having their picture, having these measurements, it just kind of helped them give another point of reference to prove they're a repeat offender. They've done it before.
That makes sense. I mean, that would have been probably the most technological way to do it then, so.
Yeah. Pinkerton heard about this, and he started using it in the United States. He would make books of the criminals with all of their information and pictures in it. And it would be called the Rogues Gallery, and basically became the first database for criminals. And they said it almost looked like a yearbook. Like you'd open it up and have their picture and like their stats, I guess, underneath it. And that was how they kind of kept track of everything. After the Civil War ended, train robbery escalated. One infamous story is when the Pinkertons took down the Reno gang. The Reno family would rob not just trains, but banks as well. In October of 1866, they robbed the Ohio and Mississippi Express, taking about $15,000. Want to take a guess on how much that is today?
$125.
You said 15,000? And 200 was only 8,000 back?
$310,000 today.
Holy shit.
That's close.
I underestimated.
Just a little bit. At least it wasn't the troops.
Yeah.
They were arrested, but then posted bail, and they basically went right back to robbing banks. Like, they didn't slow down. As soon as they got out, they went right back to doing it. In their 2-year crime spree, they stole about $500,000, which would total about $10,200,000 today.
Wow.
That's a lot of money. The Pinkertons were hired, and they began investigating. Shush it up over there. They were able to track down the family one by one, and they were actually able to recover about $300,000 of the stolen money. That's a pretty good investment to get your money back. They then went...
Wait, because back then, whenever they stole your money, it was like other people's money from the bank. It wasn't...
Yeah.
I mean, now too, but...
Yeah.
Certain shirts, so you could get your money back.
Yeah.
Well, and honestly, most of your money is electronic anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't even really have the cash in the banks anymore.
That was like paper slips and actual money.
Angry. Like their money being stolen. It's a lot of money.
And they didn't just carry like cash money. They also had like bonds and stocks and stuff that people kept at the banks. So a lot of that stuff got stolen as well.
Yeah. And they were able to get over half of it back.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Then they went after the James Gang. They were Confederate terrorists in Missouri during the Civil War. The James Gang were known to murder Union supporters during the Civil War, So not just like the soldiers, but they would go after just civilians that supported that side. Like if they didn't agree with their views, they would go murder civilians too.
But they took them down?
Excuse me.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're getting there. The James gang had somehow created this reputation of stealing from the rich to give to the poor. But there was actually no proof of this. Like there's no showing that that's what they were actually doing. But somehow that's what the reputation turned into.
Well, I mean, if they were the poor.
Then I guess it's true. However, the impression lasted, causing many people to help the gang hide and escape capture during their run. So people were actively hiding and helping this gang, the James gang, hide from authorities to get away. Meanwhile, they'll shoot you because you have different beliefs than them. In 1874, the Pinkertons were hired to track down Frank and Jesse James. Joseph Whitaker infiltrated the gang and was able to get information until the gang found out that he was undercover and they murdered him. Killed him. He's gone. Snitches get stitches.
That's what they say.
Is it true, though?
In most cases, yeah.
Pinkerton made it his mission to find the gang and bring them in. He didn't care if it was dead or alive. Like if they said they could bring him in dead or alive, he's like, I don't care, they're coming in dead. Like he took it very personally that they killed his agent. The Pinkertons ended up discovering where the James gang home was, and so they went there to find them, but somebody tipped off the gang that the Pinkertons were coming. So James and Frank left. They were gone.
The Pinkertons are coming. The Pinkertons.
Yeah, exactly. Is that what they say in the game?
No.
Oh.
No, I was talking about, like, whenever they were talking about the redcoats are coming.
Oh, yeah. So with them being tipped off and once the Pinkertons arrived, there was a lot of people kind of hanging around the house, kind of just watching to see what was going to happen. What else do you got to do? You know? So there were quite a few people around there. Well, according to the Pinkertons, once they arrived, a local threw a lantern in the home, basically to try to supposedly give light so they can go in and search. But they threw this lantern in and it exploded. And it killed the 8-year-old brother of Frank and Jesse. And it basically blew off their mother's arm completely off when they threw this lantern in.
Oh, gosh.
So with the young boy dying, injuring the old woman, the Pinkertons' reputation kind of took a hit as being like this aggressive, using this force for no reason and hurting these innocent people. Pinkertons would start moving into the corporate world, and they started sending in undercover agents to find out who was stealing from the companies. But it would morph into something else. During this time, there were worker right movements happening all over the place. The agency would be hired by corporations to gather information and break up these unions that they didn't want happening. And this is when their reputation would really start becoming tarnished. The Pinkertons would basically do whatever these large corporations would want them to do as long as they were paid for it. And it was a difficult time period because there was a huge struggle of, you've got these workers that are breaking their backs, working in these conditions, doing everything they can to try and provide for their family, but getting paid next to nothing under these horrible conditions. And the owners of these corporations were like, it's my money, I can do what I want, and wouldn't budge. And so it caused this huge rift between these larger corporations and these workers. And this would lead to the infamous conflict between the Molly Maguires and the Pinkerton Agency. Have you ever heard of that?
Never heard of it.
Me either. In the 1860s and 70s, Pennsylvania's coal fields were dangerous and poorly regulated.
coal fields. It sounds like it's just a field full of coal.
Yeah. Irish immigrant miners faced terrible working conditions, low pay, and ruthless bosses. They would often live in, this is crazy to me, they would often live in company housing and paid in what was called company script that could only be spent at the stores that this company owned.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was basically a monopoly on them where they could spend their money, what they spent it on, how much they're getting paid, where they lived. Like, they had control of everything.
That's slavery with extra steps.
Yeah,
that is.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, that is absolutely zero freedom.
The Molly Maguires were a secret society imported. The Molly Maguires were a secret society imported from Ireland. They acted as, I think they called it like shadow enforcers. They kind of operated in the shadows. They weren't known to, they didn't want to draw attention, but they were doing stuff behind the scenes, trying to get things taken care of.
Yeah.
They would use intimidation, sabotage, and even murder to fight the exploitation of these workers. The mine owners were desperate to protect their property and control their assets. They hired the Pinkertons to come in, and Alan Pinkerton dispatched agents to infiltrate the Molly Maguires by going undercover and disguising themselves as miners to gain their trust. That was just their way of gathering all the evidence that they could, kind of seeing who the ringleaders were, and get all the information that they could. One agent was undercover for over 2 years, and he completely involved himself in the community. Like, I seen where he was like, I can't remember what it was, but he even got a title, like in the church or something, with these people, and like just completely engrossed himself. Yeah. Yeah.
And there's people out there that do it, though.
He would report back to the Pinkertons with his findings, and this would result into 20 executions on this agent's testimony alone.
Holy crap.
To cause even more conflict, the chief prosecutor was Franklin Gowan, who also owned the company that hired the Pinkertons to come in. Many of the men were actually innocent of all the charges.
Wow.
And that caused, again, a lot of mixed emotions with the Pinkertons, because you have this guy that owns this company. He wants to break up this union. So he hires the Pinkertons to come in. Pinkertons come in and say, oh, yeah, they're doing all of this. So they arrest him, and he's the chief prosecutor. So he's hiring them to come get him. They get him, and then he's the one that decides if they're guilty or not. That's messed up.
That is messed up. That's really messed up.
No checks and balances whatsoever.
I guess it's probably a good thing that death row takes such a long time to process now, because a lot of the time they find that some of the evidence was removed or altered, and it's completely exonerated people that have been on death row for 20 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
And could have been killed for absolutely no reason.
Mm-hmm. There was, I can't remember what year it was, but they would actually go back and, what's the word? What'd you just say?
Exonerated?
Yes, they exonerated? Exonerated one of the workers. Basically said they weren't guilty. So they were found guilty, but then they found evidence or proof that they're not guilty.
Okay.
And so they take it away, I guess, basically.
And in some cases, they actually get some money back due to that, too.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, can't they sue the police or something?
Yeah,
But
I
the
mean,
police
there's many
give them money
cases.
before they sue. Hey, here's some money.
And sometimes that happens. They settle before they go to court a lot of the time.
Yeah. Well, the Pinkertons then became involved with the Homestead Strike in Homestead, Pennsylvania. The Homestead Strike was a major labor conflict, again, at Homestead Steel Works. It was owned by Andrew Carnage and managed by Henry Frick. How would you like to have that last name?
Frick.
All of the names that we have found, that is the least crazy one.
What the frick ever?
There have been some interesting names throughout our search through all this stuff. And that is not...
What the frick ever. I wouldn't want the name Frick.
That would be a terrible name, but there's been a few that were worse than that.
It was the worst. I just said it was a bad name.
Defensive. I'm just playing.
I'm over you. Workers were part of the, I believe it's pronounced amalgamated.
Amalgamated.
Yeah. Say that again.
Amalgamated.
Amalgamated. The workers were part of the Amalgamated Association of the Iron Steel Workers, one of the strongest unions of the time. In June of 1892, the steel workers went on strike after Frick locked the union out and announced that he was going to cut wages. Carnage, the actual owner, was basically like...
Now, see, that's a funny name.
Carnage?
Carnage.
Yeah. He was basically like, this is not my problem. I'm going out of the country. Deal with it. And he left and left all of this up to Frick.
And Frick was probably like, Frick.
Frick is like, Frick.
Frick you.
Frick you, guys. I'm hiring the frickin' Pinkertons.
That's probably what he was thinking.
That's what he did. He hired the Pinkertons to come in. Frick decided to hire the Pinkertons. He didn't even want to try to negotiate with the workers. He just wanted to break up the union entirely. 300 Pinkerton agents would show up on July 6th, 1892. They were going to come in on the river on barges, but they were heavily armed with like rifles, guns, like a lot of weapons. And the locals heard about it and they wanted to support these workers because it does involve all of them. And so what they did is all of these locals showed up to where this barge was supposed to come in. And how many did I say? 300 Pinkerton agents were met by 2,000 to 3,000 locals waiting for them.
Wow.
They weren't just upset about the working conditions, but another thing they were upset is that this company would hire this private agency to basically intimidate them into submission. They're like, we're not standing for that. It ended up turning into a 15-hour battle between the Pinkerton agents and the local townspeople. Only a dozen people lost their lives that day, which I'm surprised.
That's very fortunate.
The workers had to get creative with their defense, and one of the things they did is they took a train car and like lit it on fire and then pushed it down the railway to collide with this barge to hit the Pinkertons. It didn't work. Fire went out. It didn't hardly do anything, but they were basically doing anything they could to fight against the Pinkertons. The Pinkertons would eventually try to surrender several times, but the locals were like, no, you don't get to surrender. We're still going after you.
Okay.
Like, I've seen some reports where like they would try to wave a white flag and the locals would shoot the white flag down and be
wow.
Screw you. We're not doing this. But eventually they would let the Pinkertons surrender. But after the Pinkertons surrendered, Frick would end up bringing in 8,500 National Guard troops to break up the Union. They told them that they were going to cut the wages, increase the hours they were working, and basically said, there's nothing you can do about it. Later on, Congress would come in and they would start an investigation into the entire incident. And they basically said that that was completely wrong and that there was no reason they should have hired a private agency and then brought in the National Guard to basically put this town under martial law because they didn't agree with how they were doing things.
Mm-hmm.
Congress would then later encourage states to pass laws so that private companies couldn't be hired to come in and break up the unions. Ohio would even pass a law that it was illegal to hire Pinkertons at all.
Wow.
This, of course, caused another huge hit on the Pinkertons, and it kind of became harder for them to find work. They kind of slowed down at that point. In 1999, they would be bought out, and the Pinkertons are still used today. They're used for like container ship protection against pirates. They served during Marilyn Monroe's funeral as security. They even escorted the Mona Lisa from France to the United States.
I'll be down.
And they're continued to be used for like corporate events. And I think I read somewhere like with these big award shows with all the celebrities and stuff. A lot of times it's the Pinkertons that are the Secret Service security guys walking around.
Huh.
Alan Pinkerton died on July 1st, 1884 at the age of 64 years old. And I did see, I seen a couple of different sources where he had a stroke and it kind of affected his mobility a little bit. And then he tripped and fell and like bit his lip or his tongue or something, and it got infected, and he ended up getting gangrene in his mouth and then would die shortly after that.
Wow.
Gangrene in your mouth. No, thank you. Add that to the list of ways I do not want to go.
Yeah, no kidding.
Wild.
It's gangrene.
Look it up.
Yeah, it's not fun.
Google it. Google image it.
Scared.
I also seen where Alan Pinkerton actually wrote a detective series between the 1870s to early 1880s, and some of the stories would actually feature him and Kate Warren, one note at a time, when they went undercover and posed as a ghost to get a confession for a murder. So I may have to look those stories up
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Get some of them. But that is the Pinkertons.
That was an interesting podcast for the day.
Yeah. Little history. We needed a palate cleanser after last week.
And I guess with them going out and doing what they did to those people, then it's kind of a true crime too.
And they posed as a ghost to get a confession. So we got the guilty and the ghostly.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a fun episode.
Yeah.
It's interesting to learn about something like that.
Some history.
And some of it I did know a little bit of, but
yeah,
a lot of it I didn't.
Yeah, I like history episodes like that. I mean, I won't do them all the time, but if you guys enjoy them, let us know. We'll try to throw them in here and there. We kind of did it with the Paris morgue. Same thing. Just kind of that dark, interesting history that you don't always learn about.
Yeah.
I hope some of this history doesn't get repeated. That morgue, really. That's bad.
That was crazy. That was a crazy one.
That was definitely interesting.
Yeah, so let us know, and you can email us at theguiltyandtheghostlypodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, check out our socials.
You can find us on Facebook, The Guilty and the Ghostly Podcast.
Yeah.
You can find us on TikTok, Guilty and the Ghostly. You can find us on Instagram. I think it's Guilty and the Ghostly. Find us everywhere. Like, follow, share. Go enter our giveaway so you guys can get you a nice little crew neck and some little goodies to go with it.
Yeah. And if you want some merch, reach out.
Reach out to us. We'd love to. We will hand make it, so we'll have to send it to you. And if you have any personal stories, I don't care if it's true crime, ghost stories, weird things happening.
Or even a suggestion.
Yeah, any suggestions on stories you want to hear, send it to us. We love it.
Or stories you've already heard about, need more news coverage or anything.
Yeah, if you have a personal case that you just want a way to get the information out there, we would love to help with that.
Yep.
So contact us on any
some energy. Go drink some Dubby.
Yeah.
Wait for the win.
Probably about to go drink some.
Dubby.com. Use our code GGP. Get your 10% off.
Yep.
And I guess that's it. So until next week, stay spooky.
Stay scared.
And don't be guilty.
Bye. The end.